Okay, I'm gonna start letting people in.
Welcome, everyone. We'll get started in just a moment. Thank you all for joining us. If you're all able to join us via camera, we would greatly appreciate it and highly encourage it. I think we all want to see everyone's face. Welcome, everyone. We'll just get started in just a moment. Give people another minute to join. Yeah, if people could drop in the chat where you're joining us from. Welcome, welcome. I see we're from all over the place. That's great. Wonderful. All right. So I think we can get started. We have a lot of people waiting. All right. Well, I want to first welcome everyone to the second installment of the Hope Hour. My name is Monica Medina. I am the Senior Program Manager here at Hope. And for those of you joining us for the first time, the Hope Hour is a virtual conversation that's going to feature Latino changemakers and thought leaders. So we're going to be having more conversations like these throughout the summer. So definitely stay tuned and we'll tell you a little bit more about our next one. Before we get started, though, I do want to acknowledge some people joining us here today. I know we have Hope board member Lenise Gutierrez. So thank you for joining us and welcome. But today we have a great session for you all. We have a session on gratitude as a leadership practice with April Mayorga. So a little bit about April. She's a distinguished psychotherapist and mental health expert here in LA. She leads Mayorga Psychotherapy Inc. She applies integrative approaches focusing on mindfulness, neurocognitive orientations to trauma, and relational healing. She has experiences that span from clinical nonprofit settings. She's a professor at a graduate school on clinical psychology and an advocate for issues related to mental health. She's a respected voice in mental health. She's featured across major outlets, discussing topics like trauma, attachment, and Latinx well-being. She's dedicated to empowering through education. April facilitates transformative mindfulness workshops for personal and professional growth. So without further ado, please join me in welcoming April Mayorga. Turn it over to you, April.
Thank you. What a great introduction. I appreciate that. And I do want to say that I'm just grateful to be here with all of you, pausing in the middle of the week to be together, to slow down our week, sit in gratitude, learn some mindfulness techniques. My intention for today is to not just talk about I'm going to give some definitions and practical concepts, but also integrating ways in which you can apply this even today. So my goal is that you walk away with tools that are going to help you, whether it's in your workplace. Some of you are, I believe I was told some are college students or in education, that you have the tools to embody gratitude on a daily basis. So I'm really happy to be here with all of you. And so today we're covering gratitude as a leadership practice, everyday mindfulness for women who lead. And all of you are leaders. You lead those around you, sometimes even unknowingly. And you lead your lives, right? We lead, and we must lead them with leadership in order to feel the impact of the slowness that we're trying to practice and integrate. So again, I mentioned that we're going to learn practical techniques to support your well-being and excel in your personal and professional life with gratitude and mindfulness. So I'm starting off with the definition of what mindfulness is for those who are still new to this concept. It is the practice of being fully present and engaged in the moment, aware of your thoughts and feelings without judging them as good or bad. I know we often might do that, like I shouldn't think this way, or I shouldn't put myself down or believe this of myself. So we're really, when we're thinking about like the judgment of thoughts and feelings, sometimes it's these internalized narratives that we hold about ourselves or about how others view us. So mindfulness is asking us to wipe that out and say, just understand that there's thoughts that exist within you without trying to analyze them. Just like, hey, these thoughts are showing up. I see them, I acknowledge them, but they won't be taking over, right? So it's sort of like, it is an active practice. It's also a mental training that teaches you to slow down racing thoughts, automatic thoughts, helps us let go of negativity, and it calms both our mind and our body. So if we can practice mindfulness, slowing down, integrating the exercises, this automatic ability to slow ourselves down and decrease these challenging emotions might be more helpful for us. So the core of mindfulness also lies in living attentively and waking up to the inner workings of our mental, emotional, and physical process. So it's mind, body, right? And your emotion. So that's what mindfulness is in a nutshell. And then we have gratitude. So gratitude, we're breaking this down because it's more than just saying thank you. We say that every day. We say thank you when someone holds the door for us, when someone hands us something at an office, or in an email, in a text message. We say thank you daily. But that gratitude goes beyond saying thank you. It's about a connection with others, something that goes beyond us. It's about the relationships we're forming. It's about the experiences, the things we make contact with every day, whether it's our environment, the music we listen to, the food we take in, right? Like that's an example of gratitude. That's having some sense of appreciation for things that are tangible, right? Like I'm grateful for the clothes on my back, the roof over my head, right? The tangible things, the things we can hold and see, but also the intangible, right? And I forgot to mention, I'm very active in the chat. So if you can even share with me in the chat, like what are the tangible and intangible things you might be grateful for? Right? And intangible could be like the connection that I have, with a family member, this friendship that I hadn't talked to them in such a long time. And when I sit with gratitude, that's who I think about. Right? I am grateful for the way in which the sun hits my face, like really early in the morning, when I step outside. Like, what are the moments? What is the environment that makes you feel and embody gratitude? And it's also, it helps us shift our mindset, right? From what is missing in our life to what the abundance that we do hold in our everyday. I'm just going to check in with the chat. Yeah, so I hear that people are grateful for nature and your dog, your community, family, and friends. Grateful for the friends who remain constant, even though I don't see or talk to them often. Hearing my kids laugh and giggle. Always grateful for my partner, my family, home, health, nature, and laughter. My first apartment. Grateful for waking up every day. Grateful for nature, family, friends, my dog, making pancakes with my son. Health, friendships, even the challenges and opportunities for learning. So as you even share your gratitude with us and you're talking to us about these concepts, the tangible and intangible, Notice, even like part of the mindfulness is sitting with what is the sensation in your body when you are hearing the things that people are grateful for, when you are connecting with what you're grateful for, right? Is there some relaxation? Is there a sudden energetic rush, right? Like we get this energy from sitting with gratitude. So I encourage you to tap into that as we start to like explore and break down what gratitude means for us. So checking in with yourself, right, as we're sitting together. And so we're breaking down the benefits of a mindfulness practice of gratitude, right? So now we're connecting mindfulness and we're connecting gratitude. So these are some big components. The benefits of doing this is that it enhances your emotional regulation. So if we focus on what we're grateful for, gratitude helps us in moderating our emotions and reducing feelings of envy or letting go of resentments. Envy could also, or jealousy could even come in the form of a put down, like within yourself. It doesn't have to relate to another person. It could be, I wish I was further ahead in my goals, further ahead in my career or in my education, that I would have accomplished this goal, a personal goal I have. And so we're wishing things that maybe are not happening in the moment. But if we sit with it, if we reverse that, like if we think of instead of this, do this, like the other alternative thought is, I'm grateful for this journey, for the process and place in which I am, because I'm creating these stepping stones for something greater for myself, right? That emits resiliency in ourselves, right? Like we're creating other emotions, through gratitude. We're creating connection, we're creating patience, right? Like how many of us like lack patience at times? It's really difficult to tap into that when our world is so fast and really sometimes chaotic, with the media, the news, everything that shows up for us. Like, so patience is something that can blossom out of gratitude. Stillness. So that's one way, right? And enhancing emotional regulation. It also boosts our mental health. So regular gratitude is linked with reduced symptoms of anxiety, depression, and also stress. I will add that. So instead of, right, we're sticking to that shift. Instead of sticking with anxiety and depression, we transition to more positive, optimistic outlooks on life. And let me also, as a mental health professional, say that it's okay to have moments that are difficult and challenging. Not everything is going to be, don't think that way, and, don't sit with that tough feeling. It can also be, again, remember from a mindfulness approach, is saying, I get to have a day that's a little more tough for me. That's okay for myself. I get to have challenges, and I also get to give myself an opportunity to overcome this and reach out to others for support. And that's where strengthening relationships comes from. It's acknowledging others' contributions to our well-being, and it makes us have stronger connections through vulnerability, depending on others, relying on others, having others rely on you. Right? It takes a lot to take that leap and not stay within ourselves and suppress emotions and be in isolation or loneliness. So it really takes courage. So again, another emotion, right, coming out of gratitude, courage to connect with others and let yourself be cared for. So gratitude makes us kinder and more empathetic to others as well. As we listen to other stories, it naturally will help us improve and deepen the connections that we have. Yeah, self-compassion. We are human. I'm just checking in with the chat. Diana says, I always believe things happen for a reason and everything has its time. Absolutely. So acknowledging that, like, time and the events that happen within us. There's also an improvement in physical health. So those who engage in gratitude practices report fewer aches and pains, better sleep patterns, and often take better care of their health. Okay, so we might be like, that's kind of a stretch, or how is that possible? It is, because the tough emotions like the anxiety, the depression, the stress, we know scientifically that they leak out the stress hormone in our bodies, right? The cortisol. And what the stress hormone does to us physically is cause inflammation and tension of the muscles, difficulty with our breath. Like we start to hold our breath in. It messes with our posture. Even like I have to remind myself to sit up a little straight and not like compress in the lungs so that more oxygen is coming through, right? We open our bodies up. And so when we're in gratitude, we feel empowered, we feel open, allowing better flow, of whether it's blood flow, oxygen, and again, a reduction in tension in our body. Resiliency, we talked about resiliency, as a way to be able to bounce back from trauma. It's a mindset that says, I can get through this, like again, when I am met with challenges, I can get through this. And it also increases our satisfaction with life. So gratitude turns our attention to the positive aspects of our life. Okay, now some practical tips, like how we can cultivate mindful gratitude in our daily lives, the things you're already doing. So the first is to start the day with reflection. That can look like setting intentions. It could be through journaling. You can say this out loud as you sit with yourself. You can say it in your mind. Having a moment to sit or stand if you're someone who prefers to stand and stretch in the morning. So starting the day with a few minutes of reflection. And if you are someone who has to hit the ground running when you start your day, then give yourself 2 minutes, give yourself 1 minute, right? Those 60 seconds, right? Like, for example, if you can in the chat, if you had an intention for today, what would it be? What would be today's daily intention? It is still noon. We are halfway there, right? In the day, you still have an entire day ahead of you. What could be a small intention? I intend to drink more water, right? It could be that simple. I intend to actually take my break, right? To stretch myself out, to finish my meal today, to call someone and let them know that I'm thinking of them, right? What's an intention that you can sit with in stillness and, without having all the racing thoughts consume you? Something positive, a positive intention for the day, if you want to share that. So Christina says, I want to finally accomplish my work today. And think about the emotion. Oh, Cristiana, sorry. Think about the emotion that will show up once you complete that. And then we have, to let go of my need to be in control all the time. Yeah, like what a relief to just release that. Juliana says, my intention is to be more mindful. Absolutely. So setting intentions, like, we do forget that it is a practice that, once you set an intention every day, today I intend, and fill in the blank, it becomes automatic. And so the next piece is nourish. So mindful eating, slowing down and savoring your meals. All of us have some meals left in our day, whether it's lunch or dinner. So sitting in the gratitude of the food, the textures, the scents, cultivating that better connection, gratitude and how the food got to your plate, whether you cooked it, someone that cares for you cooked it, a regular spot that you like to, grab lunch at, gratitude that this place is there to nourish you and to take care of you and to fuel your body, that body that's going to keep you going every day. The pausing and taking breaks part is something really many of us should remember, because the day is not a marathon. It's not about jamming in as much as we can. It's about slowing it down, taking breaks, even if they're short, they're mini breaks. Breaks help us pause and create meaning of our work. So if we create space between our tasks, it also allows us to reset and improve. So if there's something difficult, a task that we need to get done, and we're just having like a bit of a block, a mental block, taking a break and looking at things outside of a phone screen, a computer screen, really helps rejuvenate the mind and gives us the opportunity to approach our work in a way that might boost creativity. And then again, circling it back to joy and gratitude, we keep seeing this concept online, right? Circling, romanticize your life. Everything should be beautiful. Pouring that coffee in the morning, doing your bed, smoothing out the sheets, right? The way that you put your clothes out, Like everything should be romantic and filled with joy. So pretend you're the main character in a movie, right? How would you start your day if that was it, right? The music that you put on as you do your hair and makeup, your drive if you're commuting, or how you set up your desk. Really making that like just a beautiful moment for yourself and breathing through it. Each activity requires your breath and your movement. So those are all part of intention too. Reflect on the gratitude for the life that you get to do. It is so unique to you. This life is so special to you. You are unique. You are the only version of you. And that's important. And that's really gratitude. I have some breathing techniques too that I've shared before with the Hope group. If you have seen my workshops before, you'll notice this. You'll notice this, the oxygen and deep breath. So I just encourage all of you right now to take this moment to just stretch your back, roll those shoulders a little bit, release them. In other words, that tension that we carry, we have our shoulders up high sometimes, just let them fall. Shake your arms out. You've been using them to type, to be on the computer, give them a little rub if you can. Like this lower part of the wrist is where those muscles are used that often lead to carpal tunnel. Just give them a rub. Twist the wrist in and out. And take a big deep breath, right? That big inhale. And then release. Posture is everything when it comes to oxygen flow. Right? If we're slouched down, if we're laying, like we're not necessarily breathing as effectively as we'd like to, and that impacts our energy levels. When we start to notice that we're a little bit tired in an office, making sure that you have good lighting, good ventilation is another important factor. If you are sitting for long periods of time, I encourage you to take those breaks to support your back as well. Some chair yoga that you could do. Some of my favorite is to hold on to the back of the chair and just give yourself a pull to one side if you can. And you can hold on to the bottom portion of the chair and then twisting to the other side, using the chair as a support, or using the armrest to stretch your back out. Okay, so those are some techniques that you might practice as far as oxygen and breath work. Okay, now creating a mindful living space. So for this part, you can also, okay, let me see the chat really quick before I actually keep going. It is, Lucy says, sometimes it is difficult to, why is it not letting me see? To take time away from the screen. It is everywhere. And yeah, it's true. So basically it's the laptop, the desktop, and the phone, right? From one screen to the other. And then sometimes let's add the TV, right? Like that's also a thing. And then sometimes it's both. Ever watch TV with the phone in your face? Right? There's nods. It just happens, right? We're trying to multitask somehow, but remember that like the research says that there is no such thing as multitasking. You're just like mind switching from one thing to another. So there's a lot of stress happening to the brain when we do that. Taking a break from those screens will definitely help. So let's start with the first step for creating a mindful living space, and that is declutter. So that's cleaning your space, right? So removing unnecessary items and organize your desk to create a clean and visually appealing environment. So you have to like how your desk looks, not anybody else, just you, right? What are things you don't need that like, what is Marie Kondo? Like things that don't bring you joy. So think about the stuff that just doesn't need to be there. They have a home somewhere else, or they have a space for themselves. Like put that where it belongs. So the clutter-free space helps reduce distractions and promotes a sense of calm. You can have different things on your desk. So the nature elements, you can add a small plant, a little natural light, a salt lamp. You see like this picture here, she has a small lamp here, different types of lighting if she doesn't want to use the whole lighting. And there's art, plants, clean, smooth surface, and she's facing a window. Like maybe that helps. Maybe it helps to sometimes switch our furniture around. Technology boundaries, again, we're circling back to technology boundaries. Silence or turn off unnecessary notifications on your devices and schedule specific times for checking your emails or using social media. You can schedule it, like, you know, if staying connected is important to you, then schedule the time that you stay connected. Not that it takes over the entire day and then becomes 12 hours of social media or screen time. Also being cautious about overstimulating your mind, because this can cause anxiety, right? Do you ever stay on your phone too long and at the end you just feel anxious, out of breath, and stressed out, right? Because you consumed too much media, right? So thinking about that, like taking breaks from technology, and then grounding. So this one I really enjoy, and I'm going to ask for your support in the chat. In your desk, if you can incorporate something visually appealing, what would it be? So let's start with our vision. What would that be? Liz says, decluttering is so important for me. I can't focus. Cristiana says, a motivational poster, something you could look at. Yeah, and that could be with a quote, someone that inspires you. Juliana says, flowers. Diana says, plants. Elisa says, family photos. Absolutely. So things that are visually appealing, whether it's a picture, something that brings you joy, peace, and serenity. Yeah, photos of people and places I love. Another tip I will give you is your screensaver on your desktop, your laptop. Make it a vacation spot that you love, or something that calms you, that you look forward to. Maybe it's a memory. Because we look at the screen a lot, like at least make it something that you like, and then add some color to your desktop if you need to. Okay, and then let's do smell. What are some things that are helpful? We have oil diffusers, right? That we can add scents. I have this one here. It's a eucalyptus, like oil, essential oil. But we can add different things to smell. Someone says, I love the smell of my candles, coffee, more candles, and essential oils. Nice. Even, oh, and then Christine says, I treated myself to an aesthetic keyboard mouse and mouse pad, pink. The black one is getting to be too much. Yes, absolutely. So changing up your keyboard and your mouse, right, to something more visually appealing, fun, something you're gonna like. As far as scents, someone is we have more with incense, citrus, and flowers. You can, again, adding live plants if you like the smell of plants as well. You can do that. Now let's move to touch. What are some things that are helpful in our desks? Like, we're sitting there now, like what are things that are, you know, we have, this is a stress ball that could be an example of touch. I also got these really cool tactile stones that help, a fidget toy, pebbles, water bottle. We have lavender. Great. Oh, I like that. Someone says, Elisa says, oh my God, for me, paper clips. Like that might be the fidget toy, right? The paper clip. Very cool. Things that are grounding, very relaxing. And then we move to taste. What's your favorite thing to have on your desk that you snack on, that you drink? Café de olla, Dolores says. I've been switching to iced matcha. I make it at home. Or warm. We talk about temperatures too. And then we have a smoothie, water, tea, fresh, crisp lemon water. Nice. Sparkling water, a nature bar, coffee or sparkling water, coffee and snacks. Lucy says everything. I love that. Really great to hear that you're already integrating this. Like, so think about that. Like, you're already using this. You already have your go-to snacks. And what if we call that intention and gratitude, right? Like, if you, instead of it being automatic, well, it's just a thing I have in my desk. No, like, you intended to do that. You gifted yourself that moment, that little break, that self-care, that snack, right? And so that's the compassion piece. And let's move to hearing or sounds. Like, what are some sounds that are helpful? A type of music. or maybe you really enjoy the quiet, like silence is more helpful for you. Cristiana says for her it's white noise. And then, oh, many of you like this one. Okay, let's see. Bird noises, nature sounds, lounge music, different playlists for different times of the day, for sure. YouTube ambience, cafe sounds, and jazz and beach. Absolutely. You have your like getting up music, right? You're getting on the go, the drive, the commute, and then your focus mode. And then I'm off, it's the end of the day. So thinking about the sounds. Absolutely. I appreciate all of you like joining in on this and really think about these components. Like, is this something you can do today? Like whether it's adding a nature element, changing the background of your desktop or screen to something new, decluttering, using one of these like grounding senses, you know, for your mental health support. Okay, here we have like one downer, a gratitude downer could be the stress of time management, right? And time prioritization. So it's important to set clear goals, right? We can be intentional about the way that we schedule our day. If a task is too big, can we be intentional to break it down into smaller steps and avoid the multitasking that I mentioned? Right? Managing distractions, learning to say no when appropriate, right? And needed. Setting realistic deadlines for ourselves. And use a productivity technique such as what is it called? I guess you set a timer. I can't remember the name of it now if anyone knows, but you set a timer and then you do as much of that task as time blocking. That's what it is. You do that task as much as you can from like 9 to 10. And then from, you know, you take your break, and then from 10:15 after your little break, you do something else for the 45 minutes, or you could revisit it. So time blocking is very important. And then I think it was like the Pomodoro technique is another one. Yeah, there you go, Reina and Liz, thank you. Another big one is, I mean, how many of you, I guess you could raise your hand or, you know, drop an emoji in the chat, but how many of you have to-do lists? You know, when you start your day, I for sure have a to-do list. Like that's what we do. And for sure, yeah. And then how, I see Juliana saying yes, yeah. And then how do you feel when you don't finish your to-do list? Oh, I didn't finish my to-do list. Pretty defeated, pretty low, like a letdown. There's stress, yeah, disappointment. So what I started personally integrating, and Victoria, yes, I love that. The list for the next day gets longer, so it's stressful. Absolutely. You just like move it on over. Very overwhelming, like Tanya says. So something I started integrating myself and that I share with my clients is sort of a reverse to-do list. It's a list that you write that says all the things you actually did do. Because what ends up happening with these like to-do lists is that we end up doing things that were not on the list, right? Like I had to do this, reply to this person, but I also did this because this sort of popped up. And so a reverse to-do list is like what I did list. What did I do? Oh, Montserrat, you do that. She says, I do that. It feels so good. A what I did list. Yeah. So practice that at the end of the day, right? When the disappointment kicks in, the stress, the overwhelm, it's like, pause, hold on. How can I sit with my gratitude? I did all of this today. I earned my paycheck today, right? I earned myself this long break after work. So do the what I did list. I hope you like write that down and integrate it because it's so important. You do a lot. Give yourself that credit. Right? And then also be realistic. How much did you add on to that list that just was not it wasn't going to be realistic to finish it. Right? Managing ourselves in that way. And if some of you like organize through a Google Calendar, remember like to make it fun, you can add color, or if you do a planner, you can add colors to that as well, just to support your process. Let's see the chat. Okay, take care, Amanda. Okay, now we're moving to practicing self-compassion, reducing the self-criticism, right? Instead of judging yourself, putting yourself down, calling yourself a name that's unkind, switching that, right? What would your friends say about you? What do you say about your friends? Right? I love myself. You're doing a great job. You are very valuable. People depend on you. You inspire others. You lead, right? Like giving yourself that like look in the mirror or within yourself and reducing the self-criticism and replacing it with like positivity and affirmation. Taking time to nurture yourself through self-care practices. Again, self-care doesn't mean, and I say this as a therapist as well, it's not go to the spa and spend the whole day there. Not necessarily, right? It could be wearing your favorite pajamas that are comfortable and you had in the back somewhere. It could be wearing your favorite dress, something you haven't worn for yourself, getting extra done up, taking time, again, an actual break, laying down for an hour if you can, 30 minutes. Like what's a self-care? A moment of indulging, right? Or romanticizing your life that, you know, could have used some attention. That's a component of self-care when it comes to self-compassion. Acknowledging our limitations, that we just can't get to everything, and that's okay. And give yourself credit where it's due. And I'm certain that it's due in many areas of your life. So self-compassion just being so important for us. And one thing I'm sharing here with all of you is these affirmations for leaders. Right? I trust in my ability to make wise decisions and guide myself towards success. I have the skills and knowledge to overcome obstacles and achieve my goals. I lead with empathy and compassion, creating a supportive and empowering work environment. I embrace change and adapt easily to new situations, seeing them as opportunities for growth. I trust in the collective strength of my community and foster collaboration to achieve shared goals. I make a positive impact on the lives of those I lead, empowering them to reach their full potential. I am open to learning and continuously improving as a leader, embracing feedback and seeking new knowledge. I lead with integrity, authenticity, and embodying the values I believe in. Yeah, drop in the chat which number resonates more with you from these affirmations. And if more, then wonderful. And if not, how do we edit them, right? So that they are more adaptable to you. Tanya likes number 8. Absolutely. Leading with integrity, authenticity, right? Just being honest with who you are while being so connected with the values that you have. Yeah, so many of you can resonate and do resonate with these. I see that in the chat. Thanks for that. Okay, and now we also have some journal prompts, right? It goes beyond the affirmations, right? Like we could do affirmations and that is helpful. It's helpful to write them down. But journaling is also a gratitude practice. Journaling, it doesn't have to be in a notebook. It could be on your phone. Some of us don't have the time to journal on a notebook, although it is helpful and effective. But if you use your phone, then that would be great. And it's one of them could be reflect on a challenge that, like, what recent obstacle have you overcome and how can you find gratitude in the growth and resilience it cultivated in you and your team. Next one could be acknowledging someone else. Think of someone who has significantly contributed to the team's success. What specific actions or qualities are you most grateful for? And how do they inspire others? Maybe a moment of personal growth. Identify a leadership skill that you've improved on. How has this growth positively impacted your team and yourself? And then sometimes we make mistakes. So consider a recent mistake. What did you learn from it? And how can you express gratitude for the lessons it brought? You can even think about a mistake that happened a week ago, a month ago, earlier this year, something that in the moment you thought, man, I messed up, or it didn't go as I planned it to be. But what did you learn from it? Maybe you learned it was not as big as I thought it was, right? Like that thing that I thought was the end of my week, like I don't even remember it, right? Thank you for teaching me teaching me how to let go of things. I know some of you talked about in the chat, like learning to let go. Yeah, for sure. Daisy's like screenshotting these to do these in my journal later. Absolutely. And then daily wins. Remember, we talked about this. At the end of each day, write down 3 wins or successes, no matter how small. How do these achievements contribute to your overarching goal and vision? Write down those daily wins or the what you did list. And then future visions, envision where you see yourself and your team in the future. What steps are you grateful for taking today and that are leading you towards that vision? And then expressing thanks, write a thank you note to yourself, acknowledging your hard work, dedication, and the challenges you navigated. One other thing, like I didn't write this down, but that helped me very early in my career was a meditation to my future self, like where you're sort of sitting with yourself and imagining what that looks like. How do you look like in the future, that future that you want? It could be in a personal way, with family, in a friendship, in something that you personally want to achieve, or work or career related, education. But when you imagine your future self in that moment, whatever comes to mind, what do you look like? Right? And what are you wearing? What's the expression on your face? Are you smiling? Are you confident? Are you just overwhelmed with happiness? And what room are you in? Right? Is there anything you're doing in that moment? Are you participating in something? Have you just won some kind of award? Imagining your future self and sitting with the emotions that it feels like to see what that future looks like. And asking yourself how to get there or not, or just saying like, what part of that do you already embody now? Can you be grateful for now? Because those visions of our future self, like believe it or not, we already have them. So those like meditations of your future self like are really helpful as well. And I'm big on meditation, so I'm always going to share those tips with you all. Okay, so let's remember the essentials. Don't skip meals, right? Eating is important. Nourishing yourself, getting regular sleep is a big one. I keep seeing more studies show up about like brain health, so making sure that you are getting regular sleep. Include some kind of movement, whether it's stretching or the chair yoga. Maybe a small walk. Liz says she's guilty of skipping meals. I need to do better. Liz, me too. That happens, right? So sometimes we can plan ahead, right? The day before, like, what do I want to eat tomorrow? How can I make it easier on myself? I also teach at a university, and in the evenings, I would get so hungry, and then I knew better. After being hungry a few times, you're like, okay, I need to pack my snacks, and do better by yourself. And then pack snacks that you actually enjoy. So if that means you're gonna make a self-care grocery trip, then do that and prepare something that you enjoy. The regular sleep, sometimes what keeps us up is our phones, right? So letting ourselves, if our body is telling us that it's tired, if our eyes are telling us that it's tired, then it's time to go to sleep. If you have been noticing, man, I've been so tired at work, give yourself extra 30 minutes of sleep the night before. And the breaks, take those visual screen breaks or just like breaks in general. Honor your break. Try not to have like working breaks where you're sitting having your lunch through your work. Okay, any questions so far on these? Feel free to drop the chat, like anything that you're noticing about yourself, your day, and questions you might have, intentions that you're setting. What are you noticing? What are you taking from this? And the power of community and support. Let me see. Myra is, before I jump into that, Myra's sharing, noticing I don't give myself credit for what I do achieve. Raina is saying, it's hard to listen to your body, especially when there's a negative stigma on taking care of yourself. For sure. I think as women leaders, like potentially we have to like keep pushing through, but like the best leaders are leading by example. If you take care of yourself, like, you know, you encourage others to do the same. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. And Cristiana saying, I realize how important it is to take care of myself and accomplish things I have to do before I'm able to fully support others. Absolutely. And so community, connecting with like-minded individuals, such as the Hope Network, right? You have a network here that gives you access to like events and meeting new people, resources, connecting with people and actually showing up to those spaces, right? Like, so if Hope hosts something, show up, right? Because there's a ton of like fun Hope hours. It's cool to see the flyer, but it's like, show up, right? And we said like, sit there, be with the other women, someone on the chat dropped their LinkedIn, right? Like to connect with someone else. Like you could see who's in your area, in your city. Participate in social events, get out in the community, lean on your community if you need anything, share experiences, seek advice, and celebrate your successes together. Right, all of that is so important in community. And thank you. I wish you all luck in your journey. And if you want to connect with me, I've shared this here. Hanging out for some questions if you have any. I think we're using the chat for questions.
Yeah, if anyone has any questions, feel free to raise your hand or take yourself off mute to ask April any questions, or if you have any comments as well.
For sure, there could be questions on like, you know, this could be challenging, like actually getting this done. So consider that, yeah, any of those questions, like what might be challenging, and or again, if you're noticing something, feel free to share and lean on us for support. Thanks, Myra.
Thank you, April. It doesn't seem like there's any questions. Or actually, I see a couple come in right now. Can you explain what somatic work is? I hear
For
it a
sure.
lot.
Somatic is another word for saying body, right? And so I'm actually a somatic trained trauma therapist, right? So what that means is that what I would do in the mental health world is like guiding people through their body, like where the difficult emotion or trauma showed up. So we don't have to go to trauma now, but even stress, like where do you experience stress? And that might be in the head, in the eyes, in the upper neck and shoulder area. And so it's channeling that energy to a different area, or the alternative would be, what's an area of your body that feels calm and neutral? And that might be, oh, my knees, actually don't feel anything on my knees or my elbows. Like there's nothing there. We don't store trauma in like those areas of the body too much. And focusing on that, and as well as focusing your body, your mind and body on positive experiences. So where do you experience happiness? It could be laughter through the stomach, through the chest, the cheeks when we smile. So it's somatic work. You know, it's tricky because some people are using it, I don't know, like somatic this and that, but you know, the general public doesn't know what it is. It's just another word for body, like body work. How do you attach body to mind? And we did that today with our grounding, right? We said, oh, I drink my tea, my coffee. Like you're connecting emotion through body in that. So you absolutely do somatic work every day. Thanks for that question. I hope I answered it. And then Nancy is, how do you stop yourself from letting negative intrusive thoughts overtake your meditation? You don't stop it, Nancy. So remember, it's just acknowledging it and saying, here's a cloud. You're sitting in meditation and there's different clouds slowly drifting by. And there's one that's negative and intrusive thoughts. And then it keeps going. Okay. Again, it's happening, keeps going. I acknowledge you. I see you. I see that you are showing up here, you know, for a reason. I can't attend to you right now because I'm in meditation, but thank you for the message that you were trying to send me, right? So acknowledging that, and you continue with your meditation. There's another technique called RAIN. It's like recognize the thought, allow yourself to have it, investigate where it's coming from, and then say a nurturing statement to yourself. So it's okay that I need some compassion today, you know, and you keep going. Let me see. Claudia, do I have a regular practice? Yeah, so I do have a private practice, and you can see more information here in this bottom website. And let's see, what if people cannot change their intrusive negative thoughts? It all depends. We all have different forms of thoughts, different narratives. I think some journaling, like exploring where that thought came from, where was the first time you heard it? And journaling and channeling that energy and breaking it down. Sometimes thoughts are this big, but if we break them down, we can get them really small and say, I'm going to put you into little pieces because it's too much for me to handle right now. Thanks for that question. I appreciate you all being here. But again, if I can support you in any way, you can find ways to connect with me. And I thank you for taking this moment in gratitude and stillness and mindfulness. I definitely benefited from it as well. To take time in the middle of the week, the middle of the day, to just tell ourselves, slow down, right? Thank you all. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much, April. I think we're all very thankful and grateful for the tools you taught us all today. So thank you so much. And thank you everyone for joining us. I hope you all learned a lot from some of the things that April shared with us today. We did want to take some time to invite you all to our next Hope Hour conversation. We're having another conversation Wednesday, July 31st at 12 p.m. Same time as today. This is a Hope Hour on elevating your leadership through state appointment service. So we hope you can join that. We're going to focus on the California appointment process and have appointment staff to share their insights on how candidates can distinguish themselves and prepare to serve in this leadership capacity. So my colleague just dropped the registration link in the chat, so we hope to see you all there. And again, thank you for making time to join us today. And thank you, April, for your workshop today. We hope everyone has a nice day today, and remember to express some gratitude today.